Welcome to the series where me and somebody else rates all of the epic or above levels in Geometry Dash. So this first episode we have Daxy, who's one of the other top moon grinders, and we're going to go through the first 10 epic or above levels. So first off we have Locomotive. What do you think of Locomotive?
I think it definitely deserves an epic, honestly. And I think it has a pretty good storyline to go with it, nice designs, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, something I really like about Locomotives is that all of the train carts feel like a mini challenge, and they're really reasonable to do on your first try with the time limit.
Definitely.
It's just so satisfying, especially like the sound design in the level with the buttons and how the music sounds. It just feels so fun. I still go back and replay it every once in a while because it's just that good of a level. It does the speedrun stuff really well, so we are putting this level in epic.
Yeah.
And I accidentally skipped the first level, which is Enjoying the Sun, the first ever user platformer level in Geometry Dash history. So what I want to say about Enjoying the Sun is that basically it does a good baseline of showing the mechanics, but it's kind of really forgettable. Like the trees are pretty though.
It's way too short. The second half of the level is just like random like pixel design, and it's not very intuitive. It's also kind of cheap that it literally got like released on millisecond 1 that 2.2 came out, because the level was probably prepared before 2.2 even came out. I think it's feature and short.
I'd say it's not so epic also. Something I don't like about the level is the force block section at the very end. That part was just kind of annoying at the very end.
It's a little weird. I just think it's too short. It doesn't do much. At least the beginning looks nice, and that's it. It kind of falls off.
Yeah, one neat thing is that the fire bars, there's a less safe path you can take, so you don't actually have to wait for it to rotate all the way before you can pass them.
Yeah, that was the one nice gameplay design, but it just looks pretty standard.
Not so epic. So next level, we have... Okay, I'm going to add a new tier for the next level. Give me a second. Okay. This is one of the most forgettable in existing tier slash star rate. So the next level we have up is the Temple Beneath by the person who made Flip Swap Factory. So what I will say about this level is this is one of the most forgettable levels I have ever played.
It's extremely mid.
Yeah, I don't understand why this is epic. And you said the only thing you remember about it is the rolling circles, right? Yep. There's a coin in one of them, by the way, in the rolling circles. So I think something that's an issue about the level is that like all of the level just feels super disjointed. There's no consistent theme or pattern to it. It just feels like a bunch of like stuff snapped together.
It was just made to be made, I guess. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know how it's epic.
So this is one of the most forgettable in existence tier.
Yeah.
Alright. You already know where the next one goes, by the way, Stella Infection.
Oh!
This was one of the most frustrating experiences I had in early 2.2 GD.
I have a lot to say about this one. So, as a fellow Terraria player myself, as someone who's played the actual boss, this does no justice to the actual boss. Dare I even need to say how the level used to crash a lot of people's games back when 2.2 first released.
Yeah, why is a level that crashes epic?
A complete overhaul of sound effects. There's no iframes, which is absolutely terrible design. The way that the boss works when two worms spawn in, instead of having like let's say like a way that the boss moves that like kind of follows you, it apparently has like a bunch of different like patterns that it goes through randomly.
What?
So yeah, that's why it might feel really random when you randomly just get like circled by the two worms. It's not actually based on the position of your player, I think. Don't quote me on this one, but when I looked in the editor, I'm pretty sure that's what I found. It's also like extremely close range. I think there should have been an option if you want to do range, magic, rogue, damage. But it just makes you use a really short sword, and you have to you basically have to be edging the worm. And yeah, makes it really easy to take damage when you're that close to the worm.
So we want to throw this lever out the window, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we want to throw this lever out the window. Alright. So the next level is Bumpblock Blitz. I definitely think this deserves epic. The gameplay design is really good with how it introduces the bump blocks, and the really good thing about it is that between the cycles where it goes up and down, it doesn't last too long. So if you miss, you don't have to wait forever to retry it. And it keeps expanding on the mechanics because first it's using the player to bump to launch the player left, right, and then it uses the mechanic along with some spikes.
I think it deserves epic because it despite the deco being simple, it does it pretty well. The gimmick is made pretty well. I actually had one of my IRL friends playing platformers. I showed him the level, and yeah, he was like, yeah, this is pretty good. So if a beginner is calling it really fun, then I think it should be epic.
Oh yeah, also this level has a really fun speedrun because it's fairly lenient and not too out of the way or obnoxious. Speaking of which, have you found the Ice Spice coin in this level?
Oh yeah, I was about to mention that actually.
Yeah, I don't know why that's in there.
I don't know if that just makes it better though, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not showing it on screen because of spoiler reasons. So the next level is Dash Cave. So something I want to say about Dash Cave is that the gameplay of this is so samey. It's literally the same action multiple times in a row. You find a button and then you enter a dash rope and break a wall. And that's literally the entire level in one sentence summary.
Yeah, we've seen that way too much. And even though it was one of the first to do it, the deco, I just don't think it looks like epic worthy. But it's not bad. I think it's just like a feature, standard feature.
Yeah, and other thing is like, the thing is, it's okay to have a gimmick like that, but it never really expands upon it. It's just the same setup each time. And the points of this level are so annoying. They're just within random hidden walls.
Could have definitely utilized the gimmick a lot more.
Yeah, I agree.
But it doesn't, sadly.
This level is just like wasted potential, so not so epic. Alright, so next X-Creator Go that has this level called Hollow Dungeon, and starting out, I want to say that the story of this level is extremely boring. Like, I could write this a better story in like 10 minutes, and it'd be more entertaining.
It looks really boring. The deco's pretty mid, like star rate worthy deco in my opinion. The colors don't really clash well together either. I don't really like the colors at all. It just feels like a bunch of stuff was just slapped together to make a level. Not very intuitive. And
some of the gameplay choices are just not that great because there's a part where you just have to backtrack like 4 screens into the piano section. The piano section should just be its own level. Like, that's what you meant by saying like the gameplay and colors clash too much, right?
Yes. I don't like the colors especially though.
And then it turns into a moving platform section where at this one point you have to wait like 10 to 20 seconds. You have to press a button, but the thing is, that doesn't change the fact you're waiting. I could just put a stapler on my keyboard and it would still do the same thing. So I want to say this is one of the most forgettable things here.
Yep.
Alright, so the next level is Abandoned Prison. I think Abandoned Prison is the definition of wasted potential because it has such a good escape room vibe and then just turned it into a fetch quest at the end of the level.
So, I think that it's pretty fun, honestly. It's just that the deco, I don't really like the deco much. The UI for this stuff does not really go well either. Looks pretty ugly in my opinion. And there's some parts that are a little too confusing, but I mean, besides that, I actually do like the puzzles in it, sort of.
I feel like the second half of the levels was too much of a fetch quest is the only issue, but something I will give it credit for is that it indicated the places where things were hidden really well, because there was no time where it felt unfair.
It didn't completely give it away, but it didn't make it like really hard to figure out where one might have to look up a video probably, or even look in the editor.
Yeah.
Like you could figure it out after a little bit of time.
Oh, speak about this level, the speedrun coin is not the best because the cutscenes like sink into the speedruns, because my opinion is that if you're going to have a speedrun coin, allow the player to skip cutscenes. And something that's really cool is there's a yellow gem that you can see on the way to where you're doing the tally mark puzzle. And basically, when you go to the next section, if you're spatially aware enough, you know exactly where to drop to get that yellow gem. So where would you put this? I'd put this in not so epic, honestly.
Not so epic. Just feature. It's just a feature.
I agree. So the next level is Deep Blue, and I would say Deep Blue is a phenomenal puzzle level with all of its mechanics, because it just slowly keeps expanding upon it. You have the yellow orbs, which make some platforms appear for a certain amount of time. Then you have the pink orb that times an explosion, and then you have the green orbs that show where invisible platforms are, and it utilizes all of them really well.
The gimmicks that were introduced, I thought were very fun. It was very fun for me to figure it out. I really like the deco, considering it was made in like early 2.2. It has pretty good atmosphere actually, and I think the puzzles were very fun. Definitely built with care.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because like they just felt satisfying each time you figured it out. Speaking of which, I think I just looked at a video. You know, I don't solve puzzles. Oh, and it also has one of the 25 hardest coins in the game, and that coin's really fun.
Yeah, I solved that on my own, and it was a pretty fun experience, actually.
So I'm putting this in epic.
Yeah.
Alright, so lastly, we have the first legendary level of Geometry Dash, Coaster mounted by Sir Punch. So I talked to you earlier about this, and I think this one should just be epic and not legendary. And my reason why is that like the level's intended to feel like just a roller coaster with a bunch of fast like moving gameplay, but it just doesn't feel like that fast as a coaster. It just kind of feels sluggish, and the force blocks at the end just kind of feel just too janky to deal with, which is why I don't necessarily agree with it being legendary. But like the aesthetic design of the level is phenomenal, and it should definitely be at least epic.
So I think it should probably be legendary. It sets a good example for legendary because the sound effects that were used fit pretty well. There's not really a huge overhaul of sound effects. The coin placements are also pretty like unique. Like there's one where you have to climb up some like radio tower. I thought that was pretty cool. And I honestly really like the deco. I think the way it uses the like sliding mechanics on slopes, I think it does it pretty well. I kind of think that it does feel like you're going a little fast. Like, I don't feel like it's that sluggish, actually. And it was pretty fun for me.
Maybe I've just been playing too much other levels or something.
Maybe.
Because when I replayed it, it didn't feel as fun as it did the first time. So I guess this is where we first disagree.
Yeah.
So what do you think in the comments? Is Coastal Mountain legendary or epic? Come back later next week when I kidnap somebody else and let them do a tier list with me. I'm just gonna put this in legendary now because I can see it go either way, and I want something on the top tier here.